Hi, this is Curt and welcome to another edition of Fire Law Roundup.
Okay, let's go to Texas.
Mm.
This is gross. People should watch. I guess the news article was somewhat bland. I frankly like the union's response I'll talk about, but here we have a firefighter in Texas, another in Illinois. Your video that you post was on the Texas case. But basically, two unrelated cases. The FBI was made aware of child pornography, and in the Texas one, it was a child under 7. If I throw up on this, just, but I guess people who do that don't find this as bothersome as we would. But a child under 7, naked except for high socks, I don't even like describing this, was apparently found on this person's computer. They were a longtime firefighter with that department in Texas. The union, so they've been arrested, right? And the FBI is going to nail you 8 ways to Sunday, because they're not only going to have what's on your computer, they're going to have the internet, the Wi-Fi, everything. You're done when this happens. If the FBI is involved, you're done. So the Dallas one, I don't know much about Illinois, but the Dallas one, he's on administrative leave. The union came out, and I really like the statement from the union. So I think there's another lesson in responding to a kind of a crisis situation, which is saying, don't let this reflect on the good work that everybody else does, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that happens. I think that statement was important, that news articles tend to give a very narrow opinion of a department when it's really their lowest common, their lowest non-common denominator, just that one, firefighter. And the union comes out and says, and it shouldn't have had to be the union, by the way, it should have been the department, but the union comes out and says, look, this person's not representative of all the good things that our brothers and sisters are doing. I really find that the most interesting. Unfortunately, look, if this guy was a plumber, it would never be like this, right? It wouldn't say a plumber has child porn charges, but it's a firefighter, somebody who's in our homes, somebody who's in our schools, somebody who we trust, who we teach trust in. And that's my fear. I don't know whether he used the fire department at all, but I am aware, as are you, where firefighters trying to entice kids use their uniform and the trust we've created to say, hey, I'm a firefighter, and take your clothes off or something like that. Right? I mean, we use the trust, not we, but they use the trust that the fire department, fire service has created and they use that as a lure of underage.
Yeah, I mean, my lesson here is that we've just got to be aware that there are a certain percentage of people out there that have this, that have this, the pedophiles, and we're not immune to it. I don't think we have an excess. That's why, I don't want to overstate the concern here.
Not like arson, right? It's not like arson.
We certainly have an excess of arson for sure. Okay. But I think there's other organizations that have a higher prevalence of pedophiles than fire departments. But my point here is that we're not immune from it. We've got to be aware that it's a problem, and we've got to have systems within our organization to handle disciplinary actions. And if we're so caught up in protecting each other, and I've got your back and you've got mine, and where's the line? And I think this one's clearly, pedophilia is clearly over the line. But we've seen cases where pedophiles in organizations have engaged in inappropriate sexual misconduct in the firehouse. Right. And one of my concerns is that when we have officers that have engaged in misconduct, could be drinking on duty, could be sex on duty, who knows what it might be, but they've engaged in misconduct, and they have a pedophile working for them, and that pedophile has that filed away. It's almost like they could be blackmailed, because now you're in a situation where you find out about somebody and you're like, I'm going to have to report this, but if I report the pedophile, he's going to report me for having whatever I did wrong, a prostitute in, a girlfriend in, drinking on duty, whatever it may be. Right. And some of the parts of our culture can work against us when it comes to these types of problems. So again, I'm a proponent of having a strong professional standards disciplinary process, a disciplinary system. And I think that goes a long way to addressing this. But it's a problem, and we've got to recognize that we're not immune from it.
Right. And I think you have to have policies, and most people would say, these policies aren't important, but they'd be wrong. So you need to have policies that say you may not use our internet and Wi-Fi for illegal purposes. You may not use our uniform, our trucks, your persona for illegal purposes.
Again, I think it depends upon people being willing to report the misconduct. And if those people have compromised their integrity, if officers have compromised their integrity and are in a position where they can't report, and we've got numerous examples of this happening, and not just in pedophilia, but in other things, but officers be in a position where they can't report it because they know if they report somebody for doing something wrong, they're going to get fired. It's almost like in a position where they're being blackmailed.
Well,
So,
and in some sense they are, because it's going to be like, well, if you tell on me, I'm going to tell on you that you did whatever.
And even having that in the back of your mind,
right,
can compromise. It compromises your ability to lead. So again, we've got to make sure that we're acting with integrity, and that our officers are acting with integrity and able to report misconduct. And I hate to say looking for it, but when we see certain things happening, things that are disturbing, things that are problematic, we got to make sure that we have a system that's going to be able to competently deal with that.
Absolutely.